GameRanks presents another episode of Before You Buy, the show will give you some straight-up gameplay and our thoughts on the latest games releasing. And today we're talking about a game called The Inpatient. This is actually a PSVR exclusive game. Now, I know that probably immediately leaves some of you out, but we don't usually do Before You Buys for VR games anyway. The only thing with this one is that it's from Supermassive Games, and it's a prequel set 60 years before the game Until Dawn, a game that we really loved here, so we figured we'd give this a shot. This is like a first-person horror mystery game that drops you into the now infamous Until Dawn Blackwood Sanatorium. Ooh, spooky. In this game, you kind of get to see the place fully operational while you recover from amnesia. You're just a random person, you pick your skin color and your gender right in the start, and it's up to you to just figure out why you're here and what the hell exactly is going on, because obviously, very quickly, things go really south. The Inpatient starts really strong. It locks you in a cell with one other person, and you kind of live out day to day, haunted by these creepy visions every night while you try and sleep, while day by day, the sanatorium kind of breaks down and becomes progressively worse. Eventually, you and your roommate are basically pushed to the brink of insanity, and it does some interesting things with that, and actually makes you feel it a little bit. Here's where the game is really just firing on all horror cylinders, while also feeling a bit more unsettling than Until Dawn ever did. The game shows you less and really leaves a lot of it up to your imagination, and uses amazing shadows and darkness and three-dimensional sound to really get you immersed, while also kind of making you wince around every corner you turn and stuff like that, all while just stringing you along and trickling out plot details while the game slowly connects to the lore of Until Dawn in a pretty good, if kind of simple way. Conversations with people are always unsettling because, first, they look really good, but it also feels like you just can't trust anyone. Plus, the mic can pick up your own voice for some dialogue choices, and that's kind of neat. Seeing as this is a VR game, walking around the environment is actually handled pretty nicely. You can move around slowly at ease, kind of through pointing and kind of through shifting, and if you're using the motion controllers, you can use two hands to interact with the environment. They're not implemented very well, and I found them kind of annoying at times. That's partly the limitations of the controllers themselves and the camera tech, but also just the clunky design. It probably will frustrate you and annoy you, at least to some degree. Other games have implemented this type of stuff much better. What I did really love, though, that saved it, was having full control of a flashlight. It's really nicely and convincingly done, and just kind of helps the horror factor since it's such a dark game. But I'm all about the trippy dream sequences in it, though, because it's some of the best stuff the game has to offer in terms of both scaring you and just fleshing things out. The particle effects, the way the audio messes with your brain, the dark figures in dark corners, and the creepy old licensed 1950s music just works. But I will say the game kind of lost me in the second half. Pretty bad. It had some cool visual moments, but it's also just a lot of following characters down hallways pretty monotonously, and it's just not very scary. It's a big shift. The game works off the same branching decisions and storyline stuff that Until Dawn did, just not to the same extent. Little decisions you make and things you say in dialogue will change the game a bit, and it does give the game a little bit more replayability, but not much, because you really get close to the same results every time, except for an extra character arc and some interesting little scene changes. That's really it. Ultimately, the experience kept me interested because it was so immersive despite its simplicity. But I will say it did kind of limp to the finish line. The ending was barely an ending, but the after credit scene helped pick it up a bit, and another playthrough makes you appreciate some things a little more. It's worth noting that this is a $40 VR experience, and you're gonna wrap up in like 3 hours. To most people, that is way too short considering the experience isn't quite perfect. Like I said though, you can replay it again to see some of the branching stuff, but that's about it. The game is high quality, and you can tell a lot of work was put into it, but it's still worth knowing. If you loved Until Dawn, I still think this is worth experiencing, and obviously if you have a PSVR and you're itching for a new experience, this one is okay. Just okay. But that is The Inpatient. That is the latest and greatest on PSVR. If you are one of the people out there that does have a PSVR and maybe you check this game out, I want to know what you're thinking. And if you didn't, and maybe you're just interested in the Until Dawn lore and stuff like that, maybe you watched a Let's Play or a Twitch stream, let's talk about this game. Because while it really wasn't the best, there were some parts that scared the piss out of me. I'm not going to lie, and I'll give the game some props for that. If you had any moments like that, let's talk about it down in the comments. I'll be down there talking to you guys. But you know the deal by now. Clicking the like button does help us out. It shows you want more of these, and if you're new, you should subscribe because we put out stuff like this all the time. But as always, thanks for watching, and we'll see you guys next time.